here live on Radio Row with Drew Brees. Drew, thanks for a few minutes.
Yeah, no worries.
You're joining us on behalf of FedEx, the Air and Ground Players of the Year. As someone that covers the 49ers and a 49ers fan, please tell me you have good news for me.
I do have good news for you, actually. But this is an awesome campaign that FedEx has been doing for a long time now. I actually had the great pleasure of winning the FedEx Air Award 4 times, which is the most, along with Peyton Manning, in my career. And I'm very pleased to announce that the FedEx Air and Ground Players this year are both San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, let's go.
Brock Purdy through the air and Christian McCaffrey on the ground. So hopefully that's also a little bit of foreshadowing as to the game on Sunday. But as a part of this, actually FedEx will be donating $20,000 to each of those guys to be able to donate to the HBCU of their choice, which would go to scholarship programs for very deserving students at HBCU schools, which is awesome.
That is fantastic. I hope it carries over to the game.
Yeah.
Your name has come up a lot in the Brock Purdy discourse.
Yeah.
Do you think your games are similar, or do you think that that's just kind of an easy comparison that people have made?
No, I think there's a lot of similarities. First off, here's a guy who not highly recruited, obviously. Most 6-foot quarterbacks aren't. People like to stick with the measurables, and obviously there's a lot more to playing the position than that. But he goes to a place like Iowa State, which I would compare that a lot to maybe my journey to Purdue, which was every time you step on the field, in most cases you're the underdog, right? In most cases you're not winning the beauty contest. And so you just develop a grit and a determination. And here's a guy who started 47 games in college. That's a lot of football, and being in a lot of competitive situations, and a lot of situations where, you are probably the underdog, and you've got to find a way to win games and play very, very well and inspire your team. And he obviously proved he could do that. Still falls to the last pick in the draft, right? But then I think for him, stepping into a really great organization, a very functional organization, a great offense with talent around him, and a great defense. They always say that a quarterback's best friends are a great running game and a great defense. So obviously he's had that, but I think he's handled this with such tremendous poise. His skill set's very unique. I mean, that offense, that Shanahan offense, very much like ours with the Saints. It's timing, it's rhythm. The pass game is an extension of the run game, meaning that, ball needs to get out of your hands on time. We'll take 3, 4, 5-yard completions in order to get in third and manageable situations, move the chains. Ball control at times, that's okay. He just executes it very, very well. You can tell he's very cerebral, knows where to go with the football, he's on time. I love his feet. You just watch the base that he plays with at all times. I can tell a lot about a quarterback and their confidence and their knowledge of what they're doing just based on what their feet are doing. He's got all the traits.
What do Brock's feet tell you?
That tells me that he knows where he's going and he's on time. A lot of what they do is play action. It's based off their zone run game. So, hey, it's back to the defense, with a hard ball fake, but then, your eyes are up and your eyes are on a spot because you're trying to field defenders that might have been influenced by the run, and you're throwing to that spot. And if that's not there, then where are your outlets? And QB's best friends are knowing where your outlets are, right? Because that's how you avoid negative plays, avoid sacks, and find completions. And when those outlets are Christian McCaffrey on the edge or,
Debo.
Yeah, exactly. Then you want the ball in the hands of your playmakers.
One of the things that a lot of 49er fans like about Brock, especially as compared to Jimmy Garoppolo, is that he seems to take doubles over singles. He's looking deeper first as opposed to looking at the check down first or the closest receiver to him. Is that something that you can develop over time, or is that something that's just a natural part of your play style that you either have or you don't?
Well, it's a confidence thing. I think your ability to stay locked in down the field and take advantage of those opportunities, in large part, is dependent upon your knowledge of where to go with the ball if that isn't there, right? So if you know in the back of your mind, hey, the worst thing that happens is I'm going to take this underneath completion, or I'm going to kick it out to this wide route to Christian McCaffrey, or even I'm just going to throw it away because I know where I can throw it away, then you're more apt to hang on something down the field, take the shot and deliver it accurately, and you won't get, I think, as skittish. So every read is high to low, so your eyes should always be high, always looking for the big play opportunity. And if it's not there, then we're going to check it down. And our motto is don't be afraid to check it down. We'll just call it again, And I think you should be calling 10 to 12 shot plays a game take them if they're there. If they're not, check it out.
A lot of Niner fans are a little nervous that Kyle Shanahan is going to be his usual conservative self in the Super Bowl. You obviously played with Shawn Payton, who had one of the most aggressive calls of all time with the onside kick.
Yeah.
If you could give advice to Kyle, would you tell him to just do what he's done all year, or maybe, hey, maybe now is the time to get a little more aggressive?
Well, play to the strengths of your team, and that's what he's done all year. That Niners offense is explosive. I mean, they're explosive in the run game. They're explosive in the pass game. They got playmakers all over the field. So play fast, play with tempo. I think that's how we used to say that's how you blitz the defense. So you play with tempo. Defenses have huge challenges, especially with an offense like the Niners, where how are they matching up, right? Especially in man-to-man situations, or all of a sudden you start flooding zones. How are we adjusting to that? The thing the Niners probably did before anybody else was, on every play, is literally a shift and a motion,
yes.
right? So defensively, it's how we adjust that shift, how we adjust that motion. All of a sudden the ball snapped and you catch them out of position, boom. So you don't have to do anything other than just being yourself. Play fast, play within the system, take completions, move the ball down the field. Put it this way, it's not a bad thing going on 13, 14 play drives in this game against that KC defense. Why? Because you keep that other dude off the field, right? Yeah. Mahomes. So that would be the strategy in my opinion.
So let's flip it now to Mahomes. I mean, all year it was, this Chiefs offense is not that good, and then they get to the playoffs, and it's just like they have taken it to another level.
Yeah.
Why do you think they've been able to kind of flip that switch?
Mahomes is playing at a really high level. His ability to create plays when there's nothing there is uncanny. It's best in the league, if not best ever. And that's a culture of winning there, and we've seen it now a couple times where they have some pains during the regular season for whatever reason. They just don't look like themselves, or they're making uncharacteristic mistakes. But when it's time to, kind of click in and then be the ascending team that we know they are, that's what they become. Defensively, I think they're playing lights out right now.
Yes.
You look what they did against Lamar last week. I think Steve Spagnuolo, I have a ton of respect for. He was a defensive coordinator with the Saints when I was there for a year. So I know Spags. I've played against him a bunch. Man, it's a tough defense to go against. The scheme is really good. The blitz packages are really good. And then, oh, by the way, if they just want to line up and play vanilla, they've got some great pass rushers. They've got, they're really talented in the back end. Linebackers fly around, so it's just a talented group. But I think specifically to the Chiefs offense, look no further than Kelsey, right? He's their guy. You got to disrupt him off the line of scrimmage, or else he's going to catch 12 balls in this game and he's going to destroy you. Don't let their best player beat you. Try to contain Mahomes in the pocket. It's not easy.
Good luck.
And then you just got to hold up on the back end, right? But I think that's where, if you'd say, man, like, where are the matchup benefits for the Niners? Their four-man rush can get after you, right? But you do have to contain Mahomes. Man, just take care of Kelsey, because he'll beat you. And see if your DBs can match up with the other guys, and just hang on.
I was really surprised after the AFC Championship game. Travis Kelce said, our plan was to try and get up a couple of scores on the Ravens because we think we could sort of take them out of their running game.
Yeah.
Is that pressure real? Do you feel that when you're the team that's trailing, like, oh man, we really got to get going here because we're down early? Because it worked against Baltimore.
Well, there's teams that can score very quickly, or more built to go 2-minute mode, up-tempo mode. Baltimore's not built that way. Baltimore's built to just wear you down over the course of a game, and so when you do get down by a few scores, if you're an offense that's predicated on just pounding them in the run game, it's easy to become a little more, well, we got to air it out now, right? And it's a bad place to be, because then pass rushers pin their ears back and it's really hard on the outer line. I don't think, when I was with the Saints, we kind of knew that we could score.
Yeah, that was a dumb question to ask a guy that throws for 5,000 yards every year.
We knew we could score, and we knew if somebody wanted to get into a shootout with us that we could hang. But ideally, you'd like to go on these long drives, wear them down. I mean, look, your defense appreciates it.
You played, obviously, with Shawn Payton. I've heard stories of some of the things that Shawn Payton has done to motivate a team, like when he brought in the player share of the Pro Bowl and he brought it in on a big pallet into the locker room. Do you have a Shawn Payton like crazy motivational story for us?
I mean, he'd do all kinds of stuff. Like if we were on a win streak, and he felt like the tendency, the human nature would be to get complacent or to feel like you've arrived. Everybody patting you in the back, telling you how good you are. He'd put mousetraps everywhere in the facility, like literally hanging from the ceiling. Taped up on the drywall, like in your seats. You watch out. Sit down on it. And you'd come in and you'd be like, "What's up with the mousetraps, coach?" And he'd be like, "Don't eat the cheese," right? So that was he'd have a bunch of little motivational tactics like that just to keep guys in check.
Speaking of Shawn Payton, you guys obviously had a special relationship in New Orleans. He's obviously in Denver now.
Yeah.
It seems like things between he and Russell Wilson have kind of soured a little bit. What's your reaction to how things have gone there between Shawn and Russ?
Well, I think we knew it was going to be kind of those guys getting to know each other and seeing if the fit was there for the offense and what Shawn wants to do. Certainly the way that it kind of played out in the end, you feel like they're moving on.
Yeah.
But that's. I think they're a good team. I think they've got some talented players. I think their ownership is wanting to do whatever they can to put that team in position to win, and give Shawn all the necessary resources he needs to be successful. So we'll see how it plays out this offseason and what they end up doing. But I'd venture to guess that they're going to go to free agency or go to the draft to try to get the quarterback for the future.
Last question. Jari Evans, finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Make your pitch. Why should Jari be in the Hall of Fame?
Jari was one of the best teammates I ever could ask for. He was a tone setter. There's just very few times do you have guys that are just true tone setters on your team. Whether that's and Jari wasn't a rah-rah guy. He was a get the job done guy. But there's not a guy who was more well liked, who was tougher, who would do more for his teammates. And honestly, he was the best guard in football for about 7 years straight.
It's a pretty good argument.
Yeah, for an offense that broke every record in history, right? So there's not a guy who's more deserving. He's just an outstanding human, teammate, and he was one of the best representations of the New Orleans Saints.
Jari Evans and Patrick Willis, we're hoping gets into. Drew,
that's right.
Thank you very much, and thanks to FedEx for hooking us up. We appreciate it.
Thank you. You got it.